So there was a period of time when we first moved here where I was pretty certain that this place was going to be super windy. Highly doubt you can see me. I was concerned that it was just going to be windy nonstop for the summer, the fall, and the spring, and I think that I like completely forgot that last fall was incredible. Like right now, it's the vacation weather. This is the type of weather in the 70s. Dead calm, quiet, no mosquitoes, standing on my back deck. Just, I mean, you can see the interstate over there, but I can't even begin to describe how enjoyable it is to live here. I had my doubts. I thought, boy, it's going to get cold. It's going to be like real cold. But the real cold is no different than cold. Like 10 degrees out is the same as negative 40. No one does anything outside. But here in this place, they celebrate winter. They embrace it. And I cannot stress enough the difference between a culture where winter is expected and embraced compared to one where it's feared. Like when I lived in North Carolina, I think one of the things that struck me the first year that I lived there was there was a threat of snow. My roommate and I went to Wendy's across town. Charlotte's a town of about 2 million people in the metro. And we went to the door, and I went to pull the door. I went to open it up. And it was locked. And there was a piece of paper on the door that said, closed due to potential inclement weather. Now keep in mind, this was in December. It was 45 degrees out and dead calm. It never snowed. Nothing ever happened. The other times when it actually did snow, it was crazy to me. The other times when it actually did snow, they went and raided the milk and the bread in the stores. And I just thought to myself, what an absurd place. What an absurd place where there's such fear of the elements rather than respect. I think respect is apropos, but fear of the elements. We'd have 3 inches of snow. I remember one time when I was working in North Carolina, it snowed 4 or 5 inches. Got up, went out to my car, scraped things off, backed out of the driveway, drove around to work, pulled in, got on a conference call, was doing work. About 11 o'clock, it dawned on me that I was the only person in the entire building. They had closed campus because it snowed 4 inches. Again, like I just thought to myself, what an absurd fear of the elements. And like people in North Carolina would be like, hey man, like we don't know how to deal with it. Don't know how to deal with 4 inches of snow? What do you got to deal with? Drive your car to work. They don't need to plow that. It's going to melt by the afternoon. There were several times where 8 inches of snow. I remember this distinctly. The second year that I lived here, we received between 8 to 10 inches of snow, and they closed the school for a week. I remember that one of the things that my boss told me, we can't have kids walking across campus because they may get injured. Again, like absurdity. And this is a person who grew up in Michigan, a Michigander, where they get a lot of snow. She went to Michigan State. Tons of snow. And like the people here are just more practical. They get it. We live through winter. It's not that big of a deal. I don't have four-wheel drive on every vehicle that I own. We plow the streets. We manage things. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Snow didn't cancel anything all last winter. And there were a couple times where we had a quote-unquote blizzard. And again, a blizzard is not tons of snow coming down plus wind. It's just wind pushing snow around, which reduces visibility, which creates risk. And in those scenarios, we just said, maybe don't drive into campus. But again, just like, I'm standing out here looking at the stars and the moon, and I'm struck by how calm and beautiful and exquisite it is here. And the juxtaposition between what happens here and some of the asinine practices on the coasts, I don't think you could pay me enough to move back.